Hello everyone, EagleX from ATX EagleX Gaming here today, and I have our Marketwatch for July 29th. Real quickly, before I get started, I want to thank everyone for supporting the channel. It means a lot to me, and if you think I've earned your subscription and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, and go ahead and like these videos as well. It really helps me know that I'm going in the right direction for these type of videos. In addition to that, if you guys haven't joined the Discord down below and didn't know, I run webcam locals every week, give or take. We just had our first BT9 webcam locals this last Tuesday, and we're going to have another BT9 event on Tuesday as well. Do you have what it takes to win a box on the event? Well, go ahead and try to join me in the next one. Your deck lists do get shared with Digimon Meta on the English format. It's a fun little thing in case you want to see your name on the site as well. So starting off with our Marketwatch, I always like covering sealed product because you know where singles are for various sets and whether or not a set's good or bad in general. It's like our brand new set BT9 is holding that $75, $80 range, and that's expected for a new set. They typically hold good value in the long run. But if we start looking, we're talking about Double Diamond. And when the low listing starts matching the market price, you know that's where the product will settle. So it looks like we're going to have roughly $100, $105 boxes of BT6 from here on out. The Ghost Omni is a longevity chase in that set. People always want to pull it. Not to mention, Alt-Art BL Stars in that set, and that card has been going to the moon lately. There's nothing else really notable here. Yeah, if we go here, your big chases are the Ghost Omni and the Jesmon, or not Jesmon, the BL Star. Yeah, so we see Omni 1000, BL Star almost 100, and the Mmon's a pretty good value in the long run as well. Not to mention Palmont's a pretty decent secret to begin with. And now let's talk about BT9. BT9 pre-sales just got lifted this morning, which means that we're going to see prices move very fast, either up or down, depending on how supply is. At the moment, we're seeing pre-sales for some of the regular SRs are going down really fast. So Metal Garurumon, War Greymon, they're going down to $2 range. I believe it is the next page here. Grandis, he's like $3 now when he was 15. So just keep an eye out for new SRs. If you don't have them, it's going to be a good time to scoop them up here this week. And some alt-arts, especially if they see lots of play, you can expect them to go up. I think Death Xmon is at a reasonable price. I think it's a bit underpriced right now, and it will go up in the long run. Similar with like any of the playable SRs. Alphamon stuff in particular is very playable, so I expect it to be higher dollar in the long run. And not to mention, it's like a fan favorite as well. And then the one miscellaneous thing from the set is Cool Boy. This card is very universal in all decks this format. It's a memory, it's a draw, it's search, which is all you really want for a tamer. I expect it to hold its price around $3, if not go up in the long run even, as X antibodies would either A, get more support, or B, hold longevity and value in just being strong in the meta. And I want to talk about some general things before I cover decks in particular, because when you look at decks, you want to be consistent for your OTKs or to have your pieces. Memory boost is one way to be consistent. And one thing I've noticed is the black memory boost has basically gone from the market, as the Alphamon package is the most popular package in America from what I've seen for OTKs. Not too far behind is red as well, and then green for Grandis. And you can see it's reflecting like the regular SRs as well. For like what's trending, the $2 mem boost are the ones that are more playable right now. Similar things are staples universally. Heroes, if you guys haven't seen, the Hero Memory Fixer is a $3 rare now from a newer set because of his splashability in other decks. Having a level 5 or higher to get 2000 DP is generically good, but it also gives you access to one of the best ways to safely swing in security this format, a Delicate Plan. If you guys don't have these cards, it may be worthwhile picking up sooner than later for your OTK decks if you really need to be safe into security options, which are mainly BL Star and security control in this format. Now, I've used Digimon Meta a whole lot for deck profiles and knowing how to build decks. But recently I've learned about Digimon, cardiganguycom. This is a site that keeps track of the Japan meta a lot more closely. And it provides sample deck recipes for like what a staple deck is expected to have, more or less. They're not always perfect, but if you want to look at this site, I'll have its link in the description below. And you can see like Twitter results of Japanese locals and what people are currently trending and adapting with. And there's just a few variations that are really cool to look at. So if we look at a sample deck list, staple 4-ofs are the ex-ante rookies, which is no surprise. But when we get to SRs, or Human is a really big and important card because it just lets anything with Palmont in its name restand. And when it's that generic, if you guys remember, I was telling you guys, pick them up for the 2s to 3s they were a week or two ago. They're roughly 4s to 6s, give or take, if you include shipping or not. So keep an eye out for these. If you plan on playing X-Antibody, make sure you have them. Similar note, Alphamon. Isn't that a beautiful alter to Oryukin mode? This is a card. If you look at the sales history, you're going to see these $1 sales. This card is not being sold for $1. I guarantee you this was a mistake, as it was supposed to be either the Alphamon rare, or if it's malicious, it's market manipulation, where a seller sells themselves for $1 with intention of tanking the market. These aren't legit sales, so if anyone's trying to scam you for $1, don't. It's realistically a $50 alt right now. But it is something great to admire. It is a beautiful card. So that's X-Antibody. Next, let's go ahead and talk about our red decks. We have 2 red decks to talk about here. We have Wargreymon X-Antibody, and we have Black Wargreymon or Gaiomon. They're very similar at the core, as they run basically the same rookies and 4s. Give or take, one's more defensive, one's more offensive. Wargrey being the more offensive one, that's more the OTK. And then you got the Black Wargrey, which is more defensive, where it pops the Tamers and tries controlling the non-existent board in this format. So if we look at them, one thing that you definitely need regardless are the memory fixers. Your fixers, we talked about Hero. Tai is a very popular one, as he gives an extra check to your big red stack. Marcus is not a bad budget option either, as he is still very playable, and all the cards are a Greymon in the deck, so you will get the memory proc when you swing. What do you need the memory for after you attack, though, is the weird thing. And you could even consider some of the new dual tamers that work in red as well. We talked about Black Wargrey, $8 SR. Makes sense, he's like the boss monster of the deck, and the most optimal Black Wargrey to use. However, Wargrey, you have some flexibility. The BT1 Wargrey is probably the fan favorite one to use right now, as it is protection against options naturally, gets you an extra check when digivolving, and it's an Evo for 3, which is super solid to begin with. The X-Antibody is something you would pair with it to go over it, but you could also branch from the yellow or gray path as well. So if you're trying to do something with yellow, which is not entirely dead, but got hit really hard from the jet limit, you might see some more innovation with the yellow or gray because of that. So just some things to keep in mind when you're trying to look at trends and cards to expect. Similar note, Omnimon X Antibody. This is a card that can go in red or blue decks, and its opponent's turn effect to negate an attack by removing 2 sources is super powerful to keep you safe, and not to mention you're going to have a giant stack, so sources are not a problem for a resource. So moving on to our next deck, got Garino TK, Grandis, Kuwagumon. If we're looking at some of the key cards, Mimi is a key card. She is an old tamer. She is less than $10. I think she's a really solid pickup for that price. Not to mention the TP3R is much cheaper as well. If you don't have Mimis, you'll want them, as you can promote extra rookies. You can go hybrid for game over her. But we also see the jamming Palmonts have been tanking a lot. And I want to give a reasoning for this, being that yellow got hit. With yellow getting hit, Zephyrmon buffs are less relevant, so jamming is not as relevant or necessary in the format. Keep in mind that if you're building Grandis, this is a good card, though. It's just not as staple as it previously was. And if you guys haven't seen Grand Kuwagas, these have been tanking really hard. Why are they tanking, though? Well, we had some big stores do an inventory dump. We had lots of stores dumping 40-plus copies at cheap prices, like $7, and that's caused the tank mostly. So if you don't have them, this is an amazing time to get them, as they are tanked at a low price, as this is the necessary promo to play Grandis, OTK. And the Grandis is simply an Evo for 1 over a Grand Kuwaga, and that's how you get a restand. That's how you can really get the OTK going, as you carry the buffs over to this card. And if you want like a really spicy list, you could run a Chaos Mon. Is it needed? Not really. But this card can Evo over the Grandis, as Grandis is a level 6 still. It's just the X antibody, and it gives you an extra restand, swing, and piercing damage. And then the last deck I really want to talk about on its own is the Melga X deck. I've been telling you guys for a long time, make sure you have your promo cards. Promo Garuru. This card is not going to realistically tank anytime soon, as there's 0 alt art printings of this card. This card is not a once per turn either if you have Garuru in your name to draw. If you guys remember Imperial, how Stingmon kept drawing for every Pyildramon swing, every Imperial swing, this Garuru is very equivalent to that card. On a similar note, so I fixed my zoom, we have the Where Garuru promo. This is the card that gives you an extra swing, it gives you an extra draw. It's like the Pyildramon equivalent. And if you have the X antibody Garuru, you have battle protection in case you do die to the first check. And then when you go over it with the X antibody, you can get a restand. This card is very core and necessary for the deck to work. If you don't have them, you will want these cards for the deck. And then similar note, Blitz Omni is the way you close out the game in the deck. In a perfect world, you're doing a check with Where Garuru. You're going to do a check with Where Garuru. You go into the X antibody, you restand, you do 2 checks. And then you can get another check from the level 6, and then you can Blitz Omni for game. Just be aware, this is the finisher you use for red and blue decks still. That being said, if you guys enjoyed Marketwatch, let me know in the comments down below. That being said, take care and have a nice day, y'all.